Well, thank you for staying with us. And it's that matter that... Hello, you're laughing.
No, the way you started.
Yes, it's... transportation in Lagos can be really tough. I mean, moving through Lagos, especially at the peak of the day when you have to get from one point to the other, can be very difficult. Considering the fact that a lot of those driving in Lagos, commercial or private, tend not to, as our road safety friends would say, uh, practice lane discipline, and then you find people shunting, creating multiple lanes in a place where you have like 2 lanes. They will create like 4 or 5 lanes, all in the hope to funnel into one spot. So that gave rise to a lot of opportunities. As I say, when you have a challenge, it gives rise to opportunities to solve it, and that brought about more commercial motorcycle operators in Lagos, just to move people from one point to the other. But the Lagos state government, after some back and forth, came up to enforce a ban or restriction in some parts of the state. Some local governments, some others still have, I mean, they can practice their business there, but then some local governments have had that thing enforced, including local governments like Ikeja, Ikoyi or Balende LCDA. So, but to help us understand what this whole thing's about and what the way forward is, we have in our studio the Director of Transport Operations in Lagos Ministry of Transportation, Mr. Agbola Otoriola. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
We did invite one of the operators of the commercial motorcyclists, the co-founder and CEO of Max.ng, and Adeta Bamiduro was supposed to be with us, but he got called away for a meeting. Hopefully we'll hear from them in the course. But we will be joining our correspondent who is live on the road to find out what the situation is. In the course of the conversation, we'll hear from our correspondent Ini John Mekwa, who is on the road seeing about the enforcement of this law. But let's ask Mr. Toriola. Mr. Toriola, the Lagos State Transport Section Reform Law 2018 clearly allows vehicles above 200cc engine capacity to operate within the state highways.
I'm listening.
You're listening?
Yeah.
Okay. So why, if the law in 2018 allows them to operate 200cc, so why is this ban or restriction somewhat blanket?
It's not that blanket. You need to actually get the law very well and interpret it. Because when you look at the Lagos State Transport Sector Reform Law 2018, under Section 46 of it, clearly states that operation of motorcycle and tricycle are completely situated from the what? Highways and bridges. That is what the law states. But when you now look further, and the one people have been quoting, like the Mazet, we have seen some of their write-up, and we have been trying to explain to them that you need to look at other sectors of the law. The law initially said, okay, you cannot apply these major roads and highways and bridges. Fine. But there is a section of the law that now exempt operation of over maybe 260 capacity of a motorcycle. We need to clear it. Motorcycle. Motorcycle too is a vehicle, but it's a category of vehicle. When you talk about vehicle, you are talking about buses, cars, even downforce, tricycle. They are all vehicles. Even bicycle is a vehicle too, when you look at the law.
Yeah.
But we are now specific about what? Motorcycle and tricycle. Fine. The law now says, okay, I now exempt certain categories of vehicles on such road. And when you look at that section, that's 15, Schedule 1 of Section 326, sub of 15 of it. Now say, okay, I exempt certain categories. That's what they have been quoting. I exempt certain categories of vehicles, that is motorcycle and tricycle. But which categories now? Courier service. You need to state it clearly. Mail distributor or mail distribution mail company that you want to distribute mails and everything. But if you want to use it for commercial purpose, like commuting operation, that you want to use it to transport people from one point to another, that the same Schedule 1, Section 326, under 19 of it, sub 19 of it. Now say, if you want to use for commercial purpose, the government will determine your route.
Ah, okay.
The government will determine your route.
So these guys who have motorcycles with capacity more than 200 cc
Yes.
need to come and discuss with government so that government can now tell them which routes they can fly.
And the reason we have done this, the government has come up with this particular restriction. Let's call it restriction because they can also apply other routes. It's about safety and security of life and property. Our statistic has shown that the rate of crime on our road, the rate of carnage or accident on our road is so high. The figures are terrible and bloody. Let me use that word, bloody. Within 2016 to 2019, over 10,000 accidents involving motorcycle and tricycle. Loss of life, over 1,000. We have the statistic. That is reported cases, oh.
Yeah.
Reported cases. That does not include the one that is not reported from private hospitals, even the one that you cannot even capture. There's something that happened, you don't even capture it. So these are the major ingredients, major reasons, safety of life and property, and the crime rate is so high.
But people are saying that government has put the carts before the horse because there is no alternative mode of transportation provided, and yet the one that the people have to use is being restricted. So how does government plan to move people? Because it is the government's responsibility.
I agree with you that, you see, a lot of people have been saying
Are there enough buses?
There is no alternative to Okada. You see, you mentioned something when you started this program. Talk about lane discipline. You mentioned it. You see, if motorcycle operators, they have been following what's called lane discipline, they are not fast means of transportation. They are not fast. I'm just talking about the operators. You know, they try to maneuver. If they have followed the route, they are not. But despite that, Lagos State has been coming up with a lot of reform programs. Bus reform program. They are now trying to increase capacity on waterways. I don't know if you are aware. Even the rail, the blue line is all. Even we are working with the federal government to do the red line. You know, from Lagos to Ibadan, like aspect of Lagos State that we are also working with them. These are alternatives. You see, a lot of people believe that government has not put a structure in place before now saying, okay, you cannot apply these particular routes or route. Because we have been engaging them. And before we even give you approval to operate, there's also guidelines we give you, terms and conditions.
Okay, just hold your we'll be back in a moment. We'll join our correspondent, Ini John Mekwa, who is around the beggar axis to tell us about the situation on ground as regards enforcement of this restriction on motorcycles and tricycles. Ini.
Yes, hello, good morning. Well, I'm around Beggar. In fact, this is Beggar Garage. Normally, behind me, you would have had a lot of tricycles. This is normally their park. But as you can see, there's none at this time. It's been like this since morning because even when I was coming to the office, I came through this part and it's been empty. But instead of that, what we see is a large crowd. There are a lot of people who would normally have used the tricycle, as we can see, all the way this way. Those people we see here are actually waiting for the buses. So now the buses are in high demand. So once a bus comes, I mean, you see the crowd. I wish we could get. Once a bus just comes, the crowd is really a whole lot because a lot of people who are going to Ogba area, Agege area, normally they would prefer to use the tricycle or the commercial motorcycles, but of course none of those is available here. We hear that in many areas in Lagos, arrests are being made and seizures are being made, but here we see that, well, the commercial guys have decided to just comply, but then it is the people who are here, and a lot of people have been venting their anger since we got here. They're not happy about it. They think that the government should have maybe been more communicative with them, letting them know before now. A lot of people say they are stranded and everything, but all we see here is actually the crowd. A lot of people are here waiting for the bus, which they don't know when it will be their turn to make it. All right, so we have one of the passengers here. Okay, so what's your name?
My name is Prophet Olatui.
Okay, so how does this affect you?
All I just, it didn't affect me, but all I just feel about the way those people are causing accidents is not good. Because if they can ban those bikes, I'm supporting it. Because they are driving on express and so many people, they are killing so many people. Even those new bikes that they publish out now that they are riding, OP, I learned that they killed Israel they have accident about 2 times. So the way they banned it is good. But I can advise if government can provide job for those people that driving the bike so that there will be not enough of criminal. So that's all my opinion.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Well, as you can see, it's all about balancing. We spoke to the driver of a tricycle earlier, and he told us, well, he rides in a Papa area, and though they say it's restriction, is more of a ban for him because the areas left for them to ride on is really minimal, and they can hardly make any pay from that. So, well, that is the situation here in Bega, and we hope to bring you subsequent situation report before the day goes off.
Thank you
Thank you very
much.
much, Ini. Mr. Toriola, so you see that the effects of the restriction, a large crowd, yes, but you heard that man talk about balance, the way it was communicated, and then he talks about the fact that jobs. So imagine the number of bikes that are usually at that beggar garage, the number of tricycle operators, the number of commercial motorcycle operators that are usually at that point. That crowd will not be there. And guess what? Even at that time when we used to have that number of people there, we still usually have a large crowd with the buses, the motorcycles, and the tricycle operators. So now you take out 2 means of transportation, only the buses are left, and yet you still have a crowd. Do you think it was properly thought through?
Yeah, you have to consider the safety and security of lives and
No,
property.
the question was, was this properly thought through?
Yes. You cannot just continue to watch how people are living and decide to say because there is nothing you can do about it, you just have to wait, continue to dialogue. We have been dialoguing with them. And I can tell you all the issue he has raised, about 2 issues. Safety, you mentioned safety too. Now to mention about job. You see, government is going to deploy more buses. We have about 600 buses we are going to deploy more. Because we are going to analyze the effect, okay, and from there we are going to deploy more.
Okay, let me stop you there a bit. So 600 buses, that's 600 drivers, right?
Yes.
Maybe conductors. So just say 1,200
even
people will be employed.
The job. Okay,
would those people be former tricycle riders, former commercial motorcycle riders?
They are more to that. Okay. You see, Lagos State government employment trust fund also in place. They are giving loan, they are training people. You know, in those days, you have our young ones who cannot further. They will go and learn maybe plumbing, sewing, like fashion design and everything, even tiling. But nowadays, we find foreigners doing it for us. I don't know if you're aware. You need to do your survey and know what is happening. You have foreigners. Our young ones are not even in any trade anymore. What they are doing is Okada and tricycle. And we are losing a lot. Foreigner coming in. So what government is doing through the Ministry of Property Elevation and Women Affairs, even civic engagement, they are trying to train more young men to learn trade. Because Okada, there is no way you can do Okada or tricycle for a particular period. It is time ban. Because you have to consider your health. Even in time of our air pollution, Lagos is now about 5.0, which is risky for you and I. Whatever we breathe in, it matters to us. So the world is talking about air pollution. So we need to look at everything holistically and take a decision. We know they are banned Okada in Kano, in Kaduna, even in Abuja. But people are surviving. But that's as long as you have alternative for them, just like what you have mentioned. Government has done that. We have been engaging them. Not a matter of maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks. We have been on this thing for about 4 months. So we are trying to tell them, you can do this, you can do that. So, but you have to consider the safety and security of lives and property, which is the major reasons for government to have come up with this. We cannot continue to wait because you are going to blame the government at the end of the day. The government is not doing anything. You have to wait. Okay. It is key.
Are there enough buses in Lagos?
Yes.
Cater for the transportation needs of Lagosians?
You see, you need to plan your trip. There is nowhere in the whole world you don't find traffic congestion. What you need to, as long as it's moving, and government is looking at other mode of transportation, it is very key. There are modern modes. You see, areas government has restricted their operation. We have enough buses there. Just people want to get to their destination as quickly as possible. You need to plan your journey. It's a matter of planning. I'm going to VI. I need to be in VI by 11 o'clock. And I'm now leaving my home by maybe 10:30. You have to consider the travel time also. So you need to plan your journey. If you plan very well, you get to the destination. Okay. But government is also looking at how to reduce congestion on those routes, on those corridors too.
Okay, so there are those who are also concerned about not just, okay, yes, the motorcycles and tricycles are out on some areas, and hopefully gradually they will be taken out completely. But the concerns, the other concerns of people, apart from creating jobs, apart from creating the jobs, there's also that thing about, are they really as dangerous as according to one of our viewers who sent him, as dangerous as those rickety yellow Danfo buses? But don't answer that. We'll be back in a moment and then you can answer. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. So, Mr. Turiela, the question I asked you was about the concerns of some people. One of our viewers sent a message. He says, Lagos State government should go further by banning all those yellow rickety Danfo buses that are causing chaos on Lagos roads. Says many of them are not roadworthy, and I wonder why they are allowed to be on public highways.
But meanwhile, they'll ask me for my roadworthiness for my vehicle, which looks like brand new.
So we see, another viewer is also saying here, there are some commercial bike operators that look good. They look nice. They're uniformed, and you can identify them. Instead of having those rickety yellow buses, why don't you ban them? Let's have according to this person, let's have the beautifully dressed Okada riders that you can hold and all of that. So
maybe I should start from
the rickety bus.
United Nations Sustainable Urban Mobility. You see, there is a template all over the world that in order for you to ensure that you have effective traffic management and transportation in place in line with the 6 pillars of the present government. It is very key. You have to consider mass transit operations in the state. That's why government is coming up with a lot of bus reform programs. We have seen Pemero. We are coming with others. We are trying to organize the Danfos. Pemero and Co. Pemero.
What's that?
Pemero, they operate on the BRT corridor from Ikorodu to race course CMS. Pemero. Okay. You see, they are just like operators for mass transit on certain corridors. And government is coming up with a lot of bus reform programs, like I said. I mentioned that about 600 is coming, about 620 is at the port, which are going to clear very soon. Buses, high-capacity buses, even the smaller one that will ply the inner routes. So what we are planning now...
Not those Korope?
Not Korope. Korope is even a smaller version of Danfo. Let me put it that way.
Why should Koropes get licensed to operate as public transportation in a mega city?
That is why government needs to continue to plan. See, there's some inner route, like what you call last mile journey. Last mile journey, maybe from your home to the bus stop. Okay. You can use something to feed the major route, like the inner route. Korope can be used rather than having Okada because of the air pollution of Okada and tricycle, because you have to consider those things. Emission from
when you keep talking about emission here, who emits more, the bikes or the vehicles?
The bike
or
emits
talking about
more.
the number of the bike.
No, the battery is a two-stroke engine. Early you have 4-stroke engine, which is of high capacity, maybe power bike, you have a 4-stroke engine. Most of these bikes are 2-stroke engine. Even the 200cc to 220cc capacity engine, they are 2-stroke engine. They emit a lot. Find out. It's a research program. Yeah. So the government is trying to do a form of bus reform program that accommodates more buses to apply the major routes. You know, the major routes we have maybe about 11. When you look at the law, 11. We're trying to feed those major routes. We have traffic on major routes. Inner routes, you can find your way within your area. There are about maybe 3 or 4 routes that will get to your house. But major route is a linkage between all these local government and SCDA in the state. So we are trying to take off the major routes, put in some mass transit buses in line with sustainable urban mobility, which is very key. That's what we are doing. But those one that Madam said, maybe we are going after our own vehicle for roadworthiness, you see, the law is there. You must follow the law. But government continues to dialogue with stakeholders and ensure that we have effective transportation system in the state.
Okay, so Daddy Gio says, if roads are good, traffic is flowing unhindered, BRT is efficient, etc., you'll not have any need to chase Okada away. They'll naturally disappear from the major dual roads. It's not rocket science. Okwala Anu says, ban is welcome, but if it will be illegal to stop them from working on the roads and places that are not part of the restriction, please warn your police officers.
Noted.
Would that be the problem?
Noted. No, we have been having a lot of...
Case in point, Koshofe local government area wasn't mentioned in your restriction.
Yes, they can apply those.
And the Ogudu Road, there are a lot of tricycles there and commercial motorbikes. And guess what? They're being harassed by the police on that route. But it's not part of the restricted areas.
You see, you need to... There are other rules, though. There are other rules that, even despite the government has given you the approval to apply those rules, you must also follow certain rules again. You must not carry a pregnant woman. You must not carry a child that is less than 12 years old. You see, you must not carry more than one passenger. There are other things. You must use elements. You see, there are other things there. But if they now go outside that, they can write to
Mr.
the government.
Toriola, we all know that during the elections, these commercial bike operators, all of them receive all manner of gifts, including helmets and all of that, from politicians. And then they come out, now they want to use those equipment and helmets they've received, and you restrict them. So when we get to the next election, will they not be getting more of this? And then how do you stop the cycle? Because the politicians appear to use this as a, I'm taking care of you, so take care of me.
Yes, no.
See, let me just say this. Transition is a social responsibility, which we must take it very well. You must handle it. Does not mean that the government is trying to give them safety measures, safety equipment that will protect them. Does not mean they should not obey the rules. The rules are there. A lot of people have been, just like what you have been saying, people have been, giving me a lot of information, asking questions. Have we used them during election? You now abandon them after the election. That's what he's trying to say. No. As long as they follow the rules are there. It's for our own safety. I can tell you the number of carnage we have concerning their operation. It is alarming. That's what I use that word.
We're not saying it's that they should not be restricted. The question we're asking is, what is the plan for sustainability? If you're restricting them because of the carnage, I said during the campaigns, some of them got helmets, some of them got uniforms, some of them were empowered by their political representatives or political godfathers, as the case may be. What's the guarantee that by the next election cycle, they will not be empowered again and they are back on the roads?
No, they can be empowered to apply outside restricted area. You can be empowered. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But you must follow, that's what I'm saying, you must follow the rules. The rule says, don't apply this particular area. You can apply other, out of 57, 20 local government and 37 SCDA. The government is only saying 6 local government, 9 SCDA. The rest, they can apply. But those areas are critical to all, based on our statistic figure we have on the ground. They are so critical to us.
Do you also notice that the accidents you're talking about were not happening in these 6 and 9 local governments that were selected out?
There.
Do you also notice that the number of accidents by these people happened in these other local government areas where they are allowed to apply?
No, we have
they are higher.
We have each statistic for each area.
And you think there are more accidents in Ikoyi or Balinde than there were in Agege?
There are other things, like I told you, it's about safety and what? Security. Police has given us their data. And the Ministry of Health has given us their data.
Let's weigh the statistics.
Yes.
Let's look at in terms of security.
Yes.
Thievery, using bikes and all of that. Where did it happen most? In Ikoyi or Balinde or in Agege area?
It's everywhere, but
No,
when you consider the areas,
statistics
when
now.
you consider
let's
the area,
wait.
Agege, in time of carnage or accident, Agege is less than VI or Island, Lagos Island. You need to see those roads. There are much activity, more vehicle on those area, those corridors, which I've mentioned, than those areas. Because everybody is moving. You know our traffic pattern in Lagos. Everybody move from this area to Island. I don't know if you're aware. There are more people going, peak period. And when they will, you see, there are more vehicles there. And you have said one thing, lane discipline. If Okada has followed the rules of engagement, of operation, Okada is not fast. They maneuver. You have said it now. And lane discipline is another critical factor that can reduce carnage on our road if everybody maintain their lanes. And before you turn to right or left, you must watch your side mirror and other things. They are very key too in safety.
Interesting,
Okay, so we're
really
expecting
interesting.
to see less accidents. Igbobi hospital wards should be less crowded as a result of this new initiative.
He's smiling.
Yes, we have done it before. From the statistic, from the figure we got from Ministry of Health, they even praised the ministry then. They praised the government for coming out with such a... That was in 2012.
But then that restriction was not lifted again.
Yes. No, it was not lifted. We just
relaxed. So the question of enforcement comes into place here.
Yes.
Oyenokin says, customer says, I live in Ikorodu, where water waste is the best option for me, but government left the business in the hand of the private sector or individuals who are charging high fares. So this is one thing that people will be looking at. Okay, so this is out. What's the alternative? And then Pascal says, is he aware that the prices of those buses would be inflated? Are there policies in place to reduce the price? I think about the increased costs, even on the areas and the buses and other means of transportation. Is increasing the amount of buses on the road not going to increase congestion?
No, buses...
They have their bus lanes.
You know, when you have more mass transit, people will drop their vehicle at home.
True.
To be sincere, you drop their vehicle at home. As long as that vehicle, we are talking about the mass transit, is conducive, is efficient, you know, there's comfort is there.
Yes.
People will drop their vehicle, and we are going to reduce the number of vehicles on the road. Because a lot of people believe they can control their journey using their own vehicle, rather than waiting for time operations. I don't know if I'm trying to... So if you have more mass transit that's conducive, efficient, and timely, people will leave their vehicle and use it within their area and join mass transit.
How adequate is the transport management system in Lagos?
Yes. The type of management. You know, government has introduced a lot of things to also monitor the operations, like intelligent traffic system also is in place. And we are trying to use all infrastructures to improve our management of transportation in Lagos State through, you know, like I mentioned, through in line with the best practice traffic intelligence system to look at everything holistically and be able to advise government to implement our program. It is very key. Time of data. Data is very key for you to plan. If you don't have data, and with our KPI, performance indicators, they are also key for us to know whether we are doing very well or not.
Let's look at a bit of data. How many yellow buses do we have in Lagos? Do you have an idea?
From our data, we have about 24,000, which we believe is more than that.
24,000
That's
yellow
those people that comply. 24,000
Okay.
database. But we know there are others who have not been captured. You know all these people. But time
So
government now
isn't
regulates.
that a pointer to the inefficiency of transport management?
If
You have only 24,000 recorded
on database.
Okay, how many people do the 24,000 buses move per day? Do you have an idea?
Yes, they move close to about 500 to 1 million from our database.
Per day?
Per day.
Okay,
database.
per day. And then the BRT guys,
The BRT
how many do they move
more
per day?
The BRT also, because BRT is limited. Our government is trying to increase their corridors. I mean, we had apply.
Okay.
We are trying to improve that. About 2 million.
2 million.
2 million. But
So
we
if
believe-
you take out the yellow buses, do you have enough BRT buses that will come in to
That's
cover
why I said
that?
we are going to get about 620. I've just mentioned it. We are going to clear from the which we are going to deploy to other corridors to take all these effects of the tricycle and motorcycle on the road. We are also planning.
All right. We'll look forward to seeing the effectiveness of this restriction
And we look forward
and
to
better transportation management.
when we will drop our cars and ride on this.
I look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bola Ontoriola is the Director of Transport Operations, Lagos Ministry of Transportation. We invited Ade Tayo Bamiduro, co-founder and CEO of Max.ng, but he was called away for a meeting. But thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Pleasure.
Sorry, so we're back in a moment. Oh, we're going to school.
Social studies.
Social studies, yes. Next, join us again.